Okay, we have started the recording. Okay, guys, this is Vincent. You probably know me as BizCause on IRC or Reddit. I thought I'd do a video walkthrough of what I've been working on because the pictures really don't do it justice. So I thought I would kind of walk through essentially what I had been talking about in my blog post. So, I mean, first of all, let's start. I integrated it with tiled, so this is how I make my maps. I have two, right now, all I have is two layers, walkable and unwalkable layer. The walkable is actually filled the entire map, and then I add the unwalkable on top. So if I want to, let's say, close this off, I need to go, these are the tile sets. I haven't compressed them into one tile set. I'm lazy. I rip these together in Photoshop. So if I want to create a wall, I need to make sure it's in the unwalkable layer, and I can close off this wall right here. Or I can even, erase something. Tiled really makes it really easy to use. I mean, you can make maps so quickly through it. So I was really happy I was able to find that, and I'll save that. So yeah, so it works with that map. That map should load right away. So if I go, so I have the main, and I mean, this is my tile map code. You can see here I generate an empty collision map, meaning everything's walkable, and then what I do is I find all the unwalkable tiles and set them to 1. It's literally binary, just is it walkable or not. And that's how I do my collision with the world, at least. I haven't really thought about how I'm going to do it with enemies, but I'll have to see what happens. Do I even have to consider collisions with enemies? So anyway, let's actually run this thing. I have just a little terminal script. So right now, I commented a lot of my code out so I can kind of show you the order of what I've been doing. Right now, so the player has his direction, but I'm not updating it. So that's what that red line is. And right now, you can just move, and you can see all my updates to the map were updated just by running the game. It loads the test.tmx, which is, I think, the map file that I'm using. So not only does it move, I'm using WASD to move, and if I hold sprint, or not hold sprint, hold shift while doing it, while moving, you move faster, as if the player was sprinting. So you can kind of, creep around, but when you want to make a quick dash, you can do that. So that was some basic functionality. The next thing I wanted to do was player direction, and if I can find that, it's probably in the update. Yeah, handle direction. So right there, I get the direction from the mouse's position. I have a get direction method if I can find it. It's probably my utilities because I use it for everything. So with that uncommented, if I run this again, now the red line follows the mouse, and it's pretty accurate. So I mean, right now it's strafing, so you can kind of strafe around an object, but it seems like way too attached to the camera, and that's what I was finding when I was playing with it. So I wanted to do something more with the camera, and what I did was I came up with a way for the player to focus So instead of just applying the get center to be the position of the camera, I have a transform function that gets the center in the direction that it's facing, the self-dot direction, that's the direction the player's facing. And this distance, which is created by getting the distance between the center of the player and the mouse's position and dividing it by 2. That's the number I came up with. That's a number that felt good for me. So if I run it again, now when I move my mouse away, it actually zooms kind of towards it, but I do have a limit on it. Like if the distance I think is greater than 400 pixels, it locks up, because I had it going infinitely in a direction because it wouldn't know when to stop if like the mouse went off the screen or something. So right now, this is a little more dynamic. You can really strafe around areas looking somewhere, and it adds a lot. Like it feels a lot better. It feels like I'm in a lot more control. So that's that moment. So the next part was my big endeavor, which was the raise. I'm not going to go into how I did the algorithm for it. It's pretty inefficient and ugly. It doesn't run very well, and you'll see it doesn't look the greatest, but it's workable for now. And maybe I'll do a blog post about it. So what I did was I basically defined a cone in the direction of the player, and just did a bunch of raycasts equally through it. So if this is my kind of draw rays block, so this will actually draw each individual ray as a line. And as you can see, kind of does a nice field of view thing. But you can also notice how it's wobbling, and that's through some of the optimizations I've had to make, because I can't check the rays on a pixel by pixel basis. I have to skip pixels, and it causes things like those wobbles, but it's pretty good considering. I mean, you can already see it, kind of the shadow effect. It's less of something you would consider as a field of view and more of a shadow. But so what I did was, at the end, like here, where my cursor is, I register these points, these hit points, these end points. And I start at the player, and I forget which side of the cone I start, and then just go along all the hit points and create a polygon. And what I do is I mask out, I put a overall layer of just like a dark, kind of semi-transparent as kind of the shadow, and I mask out that polygon, which actually, that creates kind of this light effect as if the player was using a flashlight. So if I quickly just uncomment that and run it, this is how far I've gotten. So using those rays, I'm able to get this effect. Now you notice, like right here, or in the inside corners, there's a little bit of flickering, and I really haven't been able to fix that without taking a huge performance hit. So it's kind of something I have to deal with right now, or live with. But yeah, it creates a really cool effect. I didn't really anticipate how cool of an effect it would be. But yeah, that's basically all I've been working on, or the extent of what I've worked on so far. So yeah, if you want to continue keeping up with my development. I do have a blog, which is where my first post is from. And yeah, see you at the next update.